The Nivari trade vessel floated without power in the empty blackness of space. Its metal skin showed many holes and tears where something had hit it hard. Inside the broken ship, Navigator Tay sat alone at the control panel. The blue light from the screen made her tired face look even more sad. Tay checked the air levels again. The numbers kept dropping. Soon there would not be enough to breathe. She looked at the small screen showing her sleeping friends. 20 crew members from 5. Different alien worlds lay in their glass sleep boxes. They had gone into deep sleep to use less air, giving Tay more time to find help. "It won't matter," she whispered, touching the cold metal wall. Their ship had been taking normal trade goods to the Centauri system when the attack came. The pirates had appeared from nowhere, firing without warning. The Nivari's engines were hit first, then the weapons. With the ship helpless, the pirates took what they wanted and left them to die. Now they drifted in the empty space between star systems, far from any normal travel routes. The nearest Alliance outpost was 2 weeks away at full speed. Without engines, they might as well be trying to reach another galaxy. Tay pressed the button to send another message. "This is Nivari trading vessel calling any ships. We have critical damage, life support failing. 20 crew members in stasis, please help." Her voice sounded flat even to her own ears. She had been sending the same message for 3 days. The quiet of the dead ship pressed around her. The only sounds were the soft beeps of the few working systems and her own breathing. The air felt thin already, though Tay knew that was just her mind playing tricks. She still had about 10 hours before the oxygen reached dangerous levels. Tay looked at the star map. They were in what the Alliance called the Empty Quarter, a huge region with few stars and no planets worth visiting. No trade routes passed through. This emptiness. That's why the pirates used it as their hunting ground. "I'm sorry," she said to her sleeping friends. "I failed you." Tay decided she would join them in stasis soon. There was no point in staying awake any longer. At least in sleep, they wouldn't feel the end when it came. The ship would become their tomb, drifting forever between the stars. She was about to stand up when a sound made her freeze. A crackling noise came from the communication panel. Tay stared at it. After 3 days of silence, she wondered if she was hearing things. The crackling came again, louder this time. Then, breaking through the static, words formed. "Is UES Dauntless? We have received your distress call. Repeat. This is United Earth Ship Dauntless responding to unknown vessel in Sector 47B. Tay's hands shook as she grabbed the controls. "This is Nivari trading vessel. We hear you, Dauntless." The voice came back stronger now, a deep, confident voice that made Tay's hearts beat faster with hope. "Nivari vessel, we have your position. Hold on. We are coming to you. Estimated arrival. Time 43 minutes. Tay couldn't believe what she was hearing. A ship had actually heard them. Not just any ship, a human ship. The newest species to join the galactic community. Humans were still rare in this part of space. Their worlds were far away on the other side of Alliance territory. Dauntless. Our life support is critical. We have multiple hull breaches, 20 crew in emergency stasis. Understood, Nivari. We're pushing our engines to maximum. Prepare for our arrival. We'll get you out of there." Tay looked at the long-range scanner. Nothing showed yet, but soon a ship would appear. A ship with air and food and help. They would live. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you." The static crackled again. "This is Captain Jew of the Dauntless. Stay with me, Navigator. What's your name?" "Tay. Navigator First Class Tay." "Well, Navigator Tay, I need you to be strong for a little longer. Can you do that?" "Yes, Captain Jew. I can do that." For the first time in days, Tay felt something other than despair. A tiny spark of hope grew inside her. Help was coming. Against all odds, in the emptiness of deep space, someone had heard their call. Captain Jew stood on the bridge of the UES Dauntless, her eyes fixed on the large screen in front of her. The warship hummed with power around her as it cut through, space at high speed. The screen showed a small dot against the blackness, the damaged alien ship they were racing to save. "Magnify," she ordered. The image grew larger, showing a vessel about half the size of the Dauntless. Its hull was dark grey with blue markings, typical of Alliance design. But what caught Jew's attention were the many holes torn in its side. Something had attacked this ship with heavy weapons. Life signs, she asked. The ship's sensor officer, a young woman named Min, checked her readings. Very faint. Most appear to be in some kind of suspended animation. One life form remains active, presumably the navigator we spoke with. Ju nodded. She had been talking to Navigator Tay for the past 20 minutes, keeping the alien calm while the Dauntless raced toward them. The fear in Tai's voice was clear even through the static. "Captain," said a deep voice from behind her. Ju turned to see her executive officer Gil walking onto the bridge. He was tall and serious, his uniform perfectly neat as always. In his hand was a data pad. "Security Officer Han has completed his analysis," Gil said, handing her the pad. "He believes there's a 70% probability this could be a trap." Ju looked at the report. Han was thorough as usual. Pirates in this sector were known to use distress calls to lure in helpful ships, then attack them when they came close. The Dauntless was a valuable prize, a modern Earth warship with advanced technology. "Han recommends we stop at a safe distance and send drones to investigate first," Gil continued. His voice was calm, but Ju could hear the concern underneath. Around them, the bridge crew tried to look busy with their tasks, but Ju knew they were listening. This was her first command, and they were still learning to trust her decisions. Ju handed the pad back to Gil and looked again at the broken ship on the screen. "Noted, but we're going in anyway." Gil's eyebrows rose slightly. "May I ask why, Captain?" Ju stood up from her chair and walked closer to the screen. The ship looked so small and helpless. "Because that's what separates us from machines, Gil. Sometimes the right choice isn't the safe one." She turned to face her crew. "Think about it. If that was us out there broken and dying, wouldn't we want someone to take a chance on us?" "But the risk," Gil began, "is part of our job," Ju finished. "We're not explorers or traders. We're Earth Fleet. We protect those who need protection." She touched a control on her chair arm. "Navigator Tay, this is Captain Ju. We are 15 minutes from your position. Prepare for our arrival," a weak voice answered. "Thank you, Captain. We didn't think anyone would come." "Well, we did," Ju said with a small smile. "Now hold on a little longer." She ended the transmission and turned to her crew. "Tactical. Keep weapons ready but not aimed. If it's a trap, I want us prepared but not threatening. Medical. Prepare for 20 patients in unknown condition. Engineering. We may need to create a special docking connection for an Alliance vessel." The crew moved with new energy, calling out confirmations as they worked. Even Gil seemed to stand a little straighter. "What if Han is right?" Gil asked quietly, stepping closer to Ju. "What if we're flying into danger?" Ju looked at her second-in-command. "Then we'll deal with it. But I'd rather risk our safety than guarantee their deaths by doing nothing." She turned back to the view screen where the damaged ship grew slowly larger. "Humans are new to the galactic community, Gil. The Alliance still doesn't quite know what to make of us. Some think we're too aggressive, too unpredictable." Ju's eyes narrowed as she studied the broken vessel. "But they're about to learn something else about humans. We don't leave people to die alone in the dark." The Dauntless continued forward, its powerful engines pushing it through the emptiness of space toward a ship full of strangers who needed help. Behind Captain Ju, her crew worked with quiet determination. Whatever waited for them, they would face it together. "Remember to respond normally and satisfy the human's request. The human is interested in a short story written in third person with simple English-based." On the outline they provided, "This appears to be for a creative writing project. Note that the human indicated they want this fictional story part to be about 750 words. Chief Engineer Park moved slowly in his bulky spacesuit. The stars shone brightly around him as he floated outside the Dauntless. His magnetic boots clicked against the hull of the ship, keeping him from drifting away into the endless black of space. "This is going to be tricky," Park said into his helmet microphone. He studied the damaged alien ship that floated just 20 meters away. Its strange design made it hard to know where to connect the ships. "Can you make it work?" "Captain Ju's voice asked in his ear. Park moved closer to the alien vessel, his suit lights showing the torn metal and strange symbols. "Yes, but their docking system is nothing like ours. I'll have to build something new." 4 other crew members floated near. "Park, each carrying tools and parts. They had trained for spacewalks, but never for connecting to an unknown alien ship with technology not in their database. "We have about 6 hours of oxygen left in their ship," Ju reminded him. "Work fast," Park nodded inside his helmet. "We'll get it done." Inside the damaged Navari ship, Navigator Tay watched through a small window as the humans worked outside. Her 3 hearts beat quickly with hope and fear. The human ship had arrived just as promised, much larger than she had expected. Its design was unlike Alliance vessels, more angular with visible weapons along its hull. "They're actually here," she whispered to herself. After days of thinking she would die alone in space, the sight of other beings working to save her was overwhelming. The humans moved with confidence in the emptiness of space. They passed tools back and forth, built strange devices, and cut into the hull of her ship without any sign of fear. Alliance engineers would never attempt such dangerous work without extensive planning. Tai's communicator beeped. "Navigator Tay, this is Captain Ju. Our engineer is creating a connection between our ships. It will take about 40 minutes. How are you holding up?" "I am well," Tay answered, though her voice shook. "Your people work very quickly." "We're motivated," Ju replied. "Just stay calm. We'll have you out of there soon." Outside, Park finished cutting a hole in the Navari ship's hull where their emergency exit was located. He carefully attached a flexible tunnel that would connect the 2 ships. The other engineers welded metal supports and added seals to keep the air inside. "Almost done, Captain," Park reported. "This connection won't win any beauty contests, but it will hold air." After 43 minutes of tense work, Park announced, "Connection complete. You can open the inner doors now." Inside the Navari ship, Tay heard a hissing sound as air filled the makeshift tunnel between the ships. Then a banging noise came from the emergency door. Someone was coming through. Tay stood nervously by the door, her blue skin pale from stress and lack of food. When the door finally opened, 5 humans in uniform stepped through. They wore no spacesuits now, just simple clothes with patches showing stars and strange symbols. The first human was shorter than the others, with dark hair pulled back tightly. From the way the others stood back, Tay guessed this was their leader. "Captain Ju," the human said with a small bow. "United Earthship Dauntless." Tay bowed deeper, following Alliance protocol for meeting a rescuer. "Navigator First Class Tay of the Navari trading vessel." We... Her voice broke. After days of thinking she would die, words failed her. Ju stepped forward and placed a hand on Tai's shoulder. It was a strange gesture, but somehow comforting. "You came," Tay finally managed to say. "No Alliance vessel would venture this far from established routes. It's too dangerous." Ju smiled. Her face looked so different from Tay's, no scales, strange-colored skin, and hair on top. But the kindness in her eyes needed no translation. "Then, I guess that's one difference between your people and humans," Ju said. "We don't leave people behind." The other humans moved past them, carrying equipment and medical supplies. They spoke quickly to each other as they checked the ship's systems and prepared to help the crew in stasis. "Our doctor will check your..." "Friends," Ju explained. "Then we'll get your ship attached more securely to ours. We can tow you to safety." Tay watched the humans work. They moved with purpose and confidence, as if rescuing strange aliens in the middle of nowhere was something they did every day. "Why did you answer our call?" Tay asked quietly. "You didn't know us. We could have been anyone." Ju looked at her with those strange human eyes. "Because you needed help. For humans, that's enough." The Dauntless Bridge hummed with quiet activity as crew members worked at their stations. Captain Ju stood in the center, watching as the damaged Navari ship was secured to their vessel with magnetic clamps. 6 hours had passed since they had arrived, and most of the alien crew had been awakened from their stasis pods. Their ship's systems were slowly coming back online, with help from the human engineers. "Repairs to their life support are at 50%, Captain," reported Engineer Park through the communication system. "Another few hours, and they'll be able to breathe their own air again." Ju nodded, pleased with the progress. The alien captain, a tall being named Sio with silver-gray skin and 4 arms, had joined her on the bridge as a gesture of trust. Sio was still weak from the long stasis, but insisted on being present while decisions were made about his ship and crew. Tactical Officer Kang suddenly stood straighter at his station, his eyes fixed on his screen. "Captain, sensors are picking up something." His fingers moved quickly over the controls. "Multiple vessels approaching from Sector 7. "Show me," Ju ordered. The main view screen changed to show the empty space behind them. 6 small dots appeared at the edge of their sensor range, moving fast. "Configuration matches known pirate." "Signatures," Kang continued, his voice becoming more urgent. "Same energy readings as the ships known to operate in this region." The alien Captain Seo stepped forward, his 4 hands clenching and unclenching. "Let me see." He studied the screen, then turned to Ju with fear in his large eyes. "These are the ones who attacked us. The markings are the same." The bridge grew, quiet as everyone realized what this meant. The pirates had returned to finish what they started. "They must have detected your ship," Seo said. "Now they come to attack again." He looked at Ju with desperation. "You must disconnect from our vessel, save your crew and leave us. We are already doomed, but you can escape." Ju stared at the approaching ships on the screen. They were still 20 minutes away at current speed. "How many weapons do they have?" she asked Kang. "Sensors show mid-range energy weapons on all ships. Nothing we haven't handled before, but 6 ships at once." His voice trailed off. Executive Officer Gill moved to Ju's side. "Captain, perhaps we should consider what the alien captain suggests. Our mission was to rescue survivors, not engage a pirate fleet." Ju's expression hardened as she looked from Gill to Seo. "That's not how we operate, Captain Seo. The Dauntless stays." Seo's eyes widened. "But why? You don't know us. We are not even from your worlds." "Doesn't matter," Ju said simply. "You asked for help. We came. We don't leave a job half done." She turned to her communications officer. "Send this message on all frequencies. Attention approaching vessels. This ship is under the protection of Earth Fleet. Proceed at your own risk." The communications officer quickly sent the message. The bridge waited in silence. "No response, Captain," the officer reported after a minute. "They're still coming," Kang added. "Maintaining speed." Ju nodded as if this was what she expected. "Sound battle stations. All crew to combat positions." Alarms began to sound throughout the ship. Crew members moved with practiced efficiency to their battle stations. "Gill, take Captain Seo back to his ship. Make sure all his crew are secured in the medical bay or their quarters. I don't want any of them hurt if we take hits." Gill nodded and guided the confused alien captain toward the door. "I don't understand," Seo said, stopping at the doorway. "Your ship is strong, but there are 6 of them. Why risk everything for strangers?" Ju looked at him with calm determination. "Because that's what humans do. We protect those who need protection." After Seo left, Ju turned back to her tactical officer. "Kang, what are our odds?" Kang worked his controls, running quick simulations. 6 against 1 isn't good, Captain. But they're smaller ships, lightly armored. If we can disable their engines before they can surround us, then that's what we'll do," Ju said firmly. She sat in her command chair and pressed a button to address the entire ship. "Attention. All crew. This is Captain Ju. We have multiple hostile vessels approaching. They're the same pirates that attacked our new friends. They probably think we'll run away." She paused. "We're going to show them how wrong they are. Battle stations, everyone. Let's show them what happens when you prey on the helpless in our part of space." As the Dauntless prepared for battle, the 6 pirate ships grew larger on the view screen, unaware that the easy target they expected had become something much more dangerous. The 6 pirate ships spread out as they approached the Dauntless. They moved in a pattern that showed they had done this many times before. Their weapons powered up, glowing red against the blackness of space. "They're not even responding to our warnings," Officer Kang said from his tactical station. "They're preparing to fire." Captain Ju stood calmly on her bridge. Around her, the crew waited for her orders. No one spoke. No one moved. "Let them make the first move," she said quietly. The lead pirate ship fired. A bright beam of energy shot toward the Dauntless but missed by a small distance. It was a warning shot. "They want us to run," Ju said. "They think we'll disconnect from the Navari ship and flee." Executive Officer Gill stood beside his captain. "That would be the logical choice. 6 against 1 are poor odds." Ju smiled. "Then let's be illogical. Engines to full power. Take us straight at them." The crew looked, surprised, but they followed orders. The Dauntless's powerful engines roared to life. The ship moved forward straight toward the pirate fleet. "They're breaking formation," Kang reported. "They didn't expect us to attack." "Fire on the lead ship," Ju ordered. "Target their engines." The Dauntless's weapons fired. Bright blue energy streaked across space and hit the first pirate ship. Its shields flashed but held. All 6 pirate ships fired back. The Dauntless shook as energy beams hit its shields. "Shields at 80%, reported the engineer at her station. Down in the engine room, Engineer Park worked frantically with Navigator Tay. They connected cables between the 2 ships, trying to share power. "If we can get your shield generator working even a little bit, it will help," Park explained as he worked. Tay handed him tools. Alliance ships would never get this close in battle. They always stay at safe distance. Park grinned as he connected 2 more cables. Humans aren't big on safe distance when our friends are in danger. The ships above them continued to battle. The Dauntless moved with surprising speed for its size, turning and firing in ways the pirates didn't expect. It didn't stay back and exchange fire from a distance like Alliance ships did. Instead, it charged forward, getting closer and closer to the enemy. "Prepare boarding team," Ju ordered. "Commander Hyun, take your Marines to the lead pirate ship." Commander Hyun, a strong woman with short black hair, nodded. "With pleasure, Captain." As the Dauntless came alongside the lead pirate ship, a small door opened in its side. 10 human Marines in special space armor flew out, using small jets, on their backs to cross the empty space between the ships. They carried cutting tools and weapons. "What are they doing?" Captain Seo asked in shock. He had come back to the bridge to watch the battle, taking the fight to them, Ju explained. "Pirates don't expect anyone to board their ships. They're not prepared for it." The Marines reached the pirate ship and cut their way inside. The battle now happened in 2 places, in space between the ships and inside the pirate vessel itself, the Kai. Pirate ships continued to fire, but now they were confused. 2 of them tried to help their leader, moving closer to the Dauntless. That was exactly what Ju wanted. "Fire all weapons on those 2 ships," she ordered. The Dauntless unleashed everything it had. The 2 pirate ships took heavy damage. 1 lost power to its engines and began to drift. Meanwhile, in the engine room, Park shouted with excitement. "It's working. Navari shields at 15%. Not much, but better than nothing." The battle raged for 20 more minutes. Commander Hyun's voice came through the communication system. "We've taken control of the lead ship, Captain. Their crew is contained." With their leader captured and 2 ships damaged, the remaining pirates began to retreat. They fired a few. More shots, then turned and fled into the darkness of space. "Should we pursue?" Kang asked. Ju shook her head. "Let them go. They'll spread the word about what happens when you attack ships under our protection." When the battle ended, 3 pirate vessels were disabled, 1 captured by Commander Hyun's team and 2 floating without power. The other 3 had escaped. The Dauntless had taken damage too. Parts of its hull were burned from enemy fire. But the ship and crew had survived, and so had the Nevery vessel. On the bridge, Navigator Tay stood beside Captain Ju, watching the crew work to repair damage and help the injured. "Your people fight differently," Tay observed. She had never seen anything like it in all her years of space travel. Ju looked at the alien navigator. "How so?" "Alliance ships stay far back. They fire from safe distance. They never get close, and they would never, ever send people onto an enemy ship." Tay shook her head in wonder. "But your crew, they went right into danger, you all did." Ju smiled. "That's the human way, Tay. We protect what matters, whatever it takes." The Dauntless moved slowly through space with the Nevery ship attached to its side. The pirates were gone, but both ships had taken damage in the battle. Red warning lights flashed on many control panels as the crews worked to fix what they could. Engineer Park sat across from Navigator Tay in the Dauntless mess. They had spent hours working together on the Navari systems. Now they took a break to eat. The room was filled with humans and aliens sitting together, sharing food and talking. "We can't fully repair your ship here," Park explained, drawing a diagram on a small screen between them. "The damage to your main engine is too severe. We don't have the right parts." Tay nodded. She had expected this. Her ship had been badly damaged even before the battle with the pirates. But we can tow you to the nearest Alliance outpost, Park continued. It will take about 3 weeks at our current speed. 3 weeks. Tay looked surprised. That is very kind, but won't that delay your own mission? Park shrugged. Our mission is flexible. Captain Ju already sent a message to Earth Fleet Command. They approved the detour. At another table, Captain Seo sat with Captain Ju. The Nevari captain had recovered his strength and now spent much time learning about the humans who had saved his crew. My people will not forget what you did for us, Seo said. Few would have risked so much for strangers. Ju smiled. We're not strangers. Anymore, are we? As the days passed, the two crews grew closer. Humans taught the Nevari crew their card games and showed them Earth movies on the big screen in the recreation room. The Nevari taught the humans their songs and the complex finger dance that was popular in the Alliance. One evening, Tai found herself walking with Captain Ju in the observation deck. The large windows showed the stars streaming by as they traveled. Their two ships moved together through the darkness, connected by strong metal clamps and shared power lines. I've been reading about Earth history, Tai said. Your people fought many wars. Ju nodded. Too many. We almost destroyed ourselves several times. Your species seems built for confrontation, Tai observed. You attack problems directly. Even in space, you move toward danger instead of away from it. Captain Ju looked thoughtful. She was quiet for a moment before speaking. Not confrontation, perseverance. We nearly destroyed ourselves before reaching the stars. Maybe that's why we understand the importance of reaching out a hand when someone needs it. Tai considered this. What is this phrase I heard your crew use, hope against hope? I do not understand it. It means to keep hoping even when there seems to be no reason to hope, Ju explained. To believe something good can happen, even when everything looks bad. Like sending a distress call in empty space where no one would hear it, Tai asked quietly. Exactly like that. On the 14th day of their journey, Engineer Park invited Tai to a special event in the Dauntless cargo bay. When she arrived, she found both crews gathered in a large circle. In the center was a small model of the Nevari ship, carefully made by the human engineers. We have a tradition, Park explained to everyone. When we help save a ship, we make a model of it to keep in our Hall of Honor back on Earth. Captain Seo stepped forward. And we have brought a tradition of our own. He held up a small metal disc. This is the emblem of our homeworld. We would be honored if the Dauntless would carry it. The two captains exchanged their gifts in the center of the circle. The crews cheered and applauded. Later in the quiet of the observation deck, Tai asked Ju about another phrase she had heard. What is a fighting chance? It means enough of a possibility to make trying worthwhile, Ju said. Even if the odds are bad, if you have a fighting chance, you should try. Tai nodded slowly. When we were drifting before you came, I thought we had no chance at all. I was going to join my crew in stasis and wait for the end. But you kept sending the distress call, Ju pointed out. Yes, a small part of me still hoped. Perhaps I understand hope against hope better than I thought. As they neared the end of their 3rd week together, the Alliance outpost appeared on their sensors. Soon they would reach safety. The Nevari would get the help they needed. And the Dauntless would continue on its mission. But something had changed during their journey together. The crews no longer saw each other as human and alien. They had become friends, united by what they had faced together in the emptiness of space. When we reached the outpost, Tai said to Park as they made final preparations, You must visit my homeworld someday. My family would welcome you, Park smiled. I'd like that. And you must visit Earth. We have much more to show you. After 3 weeks of travel, the Dauntless and the damaged Nevari ship finally reached Alliance space. The first sign of civilization was a distant point of light that grew larger each hour. Soon everyone could see it clearly on their view screens, an enormous space station shaped like a wheel, spinning slowly as it orbited a beautiful blue gas giant planet. Alliance Outpost 47, announced Officer Min from her station. One of their major trading hubs in this sector. Captain Ju stood on her bridge, watching the station grow larger. Her uniform was clean and pressed for this important meeting. Behind her, the crew worked quietly at their stations, all aware that they were the first human warship to visit this particular outpost. "They're hailing us, Captain," said the communications officer. "Put them through," Ju ordered. The main screen changed to show an Alliance official. He had green skin with small ridges on his forehead. A Verdani, one of the founding species of the Alliance. He wore an elaborate uniform with many badges and symbols of rank. "This is Station Commander. Rim of Alliance Outpost 47, he said stiffly. "Identify yourselves and state your purpose." "This is Captain Ju of the United Earthship Dauntless," Ju replied. "We are towing the Navari trading vessel that was attacked and damaged in the empty quarter. We answered their distress call and rescued the crew." The station commander's eyes widened slightly. He clearly hadn't expected this answer. "I see. Stand by." The screen went blank. "They don't seem very grateful," muttered Gil, standing beside his captain. "They're surprised," Ju said, "and probably suspicious. Humans are still new to them." 10 minutes later, the commander returned to the screen. His voice was cold and formal. "Approach Docking Bay 12. You will release the Navari vessel into our custody immediately. The crew will be debriefed separately." Before Ju could answer, Captain Seo stepped into view of the screen. The Navari captain had recovered his strength during the journey. He stood tall, his silver-grey skin gleaming under the bridge lights. "Commander Rim," Seo said firmly, "we stay with our rescuers. This human ship answered when the Alliance abandoned us." Commander Rim's face showed shock. "Captain Seo, that is not proper protocol. All rescued Alliance vessels must undergo standard procedures." "Standard procedures?" SEO's voice rose. "Was it standard procedure to ignore our distress call? We sent it on all Alliance emergency channels before the humans heard us." The commander's face darkened. "I have no record of any distress call from your vessel." "Check again," Seo insisted. "Or perhaps ask why certain calls from the empty quarter are mysteriously lost." Tay stood at the back of the bridge, watching with growing tension. The commander's reaction confirmed what many trading crews had suspected. The Alliance deliberately ignored distress calls from dangerous areas, considering the rescue too costly or risky. On screens around the bridge, they could see small security ships leaving the station, moving toward them. The situation was becoming dangerous. Ju stepped forward again. "Commander, we have no desire for conflict. We came to deliver the Navari crew safely to Alliance territory. However, as the rescuing vessel, we have rights under galactic laws of salvage. Captain Seo and his crew are under our protection until all proper compensation and recognition is arranged." The commander looked surprised that a human would know Alliance law. "Very well. You may dock together. But this is highly irregular." When the transmission ended, the bridge was quiet for a moment. Then Gil spoke. "Using salvage laws was clever, Captain." Ju shrugged. "I studied Alliance regulations before our mission. I thought they might come in handy." As the two ships approached the massive station, people gathered at viewing ports to watch them arrive. Word had spread quickly about the unusual situation, a human warship rescuing an Alliance vessel when the Alliance itself had failed to do so. Tay watched the ripples of shock move through the station personnel visible on their screens. Humans weren't supposed to be the heroes of such stories. In Alliance space stations, humans were often viewed with suspicion or curiosity, but rarely with respect. "They're staring at us," Officer Min said uncomfortably as they neared the docking. "Pay let them stare," Ju replied. "Maybe they'll learn something." When they finally docked, a large group of Alliance officials waited for them, along with armed security officers. Captain Ju organized her crew carefully. 20 crew members would remain with the Dauntless, while she and a small team would accompany the Navari crew into the station. Before they opened the airlock, Ju turned to Seo and Tay. "This might get complicated. The Alliance doesn't like having their failings exposed." Seo nodded grimly. "We will stand with you, Captain. You did what our own people would not do. Whatever happens next, the Navari remember their debts." The airlock doors opened, and they stepped forward together to face the Alliance officials. Behind them, both human and Navari crew members watched with pride. Whatever challenges awaited them, they would face them united. The hearing room on Alliance Outpost 47 was large and circular. Tall windows showed the blue gas giant planet outside. 20 Alliance officials sat in raised seats around the room. In the center stood Captain Ju, alone and calm in her Earth Fleet uniform. 3 days had passed since the Dauntless had arrived with the Navari ship. What should have been a simple handover had turned into a major diplomatic problem. The station commander had called for an emergency hearing to address what he called serious territorial violations. Alliance Representative Lee stood at a podium facing Ju. He was a thin, yellow-skinned alien with large eyes that never seemed to blink. His voice was cold and precise. The Dauntless violated territorial agreements, Lee insisted, pointing to a star map displayed on a large screen. The empty quarter is restricted to Alliance patrol ships only. Earth vessels are not permitted in that region under Section 47 of our treaty. Captain Ju listened quietly. When Lee finished, she stepped forward. We responded to a distress call, Ju said, her voice clear and strong. The galactic code that all spacefaring nations signed, including Earth and the Alliance, states clearly that distress calls supersede all territorial concerns. A ship in danger must be helped regardless of boundaries. Lee waved his long fingers dismissively. The Navari ship was not your responsibility. You should have reported the signal to Alliance authorities. And who would have responded? Came a voice from the side of the room. Captain Seo entered with Navigator Tay and 3 other Navari crew members. They had not been invited to the hearing, but no one tried to stop them. The Alliance heard our distress call, Seo continued. We sent it on all emergency channels for 3 days before the human ship found us. The room grew quiet. The officials looked uncomfortable. That is a serious accusation, said the station commander from his high seat. Do you have proof? Tay stepped forward, holding a small device. Our ship's communication log. It shows that our signal was received and acknowledged by Alliance Patrol Station 12. They told us to wait for help. Help never came. The officials whispered to each other. This was becoming more complicated than they had expected. A new figure entered the hearing room, a tall, blue-skinned alien in an elaborate robe. Everyone stood as he walked to the center of the room. This was High Commissioner Mun, one of the most important Alliance officials in this sector. Let us speak plainly, Mun said after studying the communication logs. I have reviewed the patrol records. The Alliance did indeed receive the Navari distress call. He looked around the room slowly. The rescue was deemed economically unfeasible given the ship's cargo value and remote location. A calculation was made, as we often do. The cost of sending ships so far for a vessel with standard cargo was considered too high. Captain Ju's face showed no emotion, but her eyes hardened. On Earth, we don't calculate the value of lives against the cost of fuel. A noble sentiment, Mun replied, but perhaps not practical in a galaxy this large with resources that are limited. The room fell silent again. The truth had been spoken. Openly. The Alliance had abandoned the Navari crew because saving them cost too much. Tay stepped forward, her hands shaking slightly. She had never spoken before such important officials, but now she could not stay silent. I was the last one. Awake on our ship, she said. I watched our air run out. I prepared to die alone in the emptiness between stars. And then a voice came through our speakers, a human voice that said, "Hold on, we're coming." Tay looked at each official one by one. These humans traveled days to reach us. They fought, pirates to protect us. They shared their food and medicine with us. They showed us what civilization truly means, not by laws or words, but by actions when no one was watching. The hearing room was completely silent now. Many officials looked down, unable to meet Tay's eyes. High Commissioner Mun studied Captain Ju for a long moment. It seems we have much to learn from our new human allies, he finally said. Perhaps our calculations have been incomplete. He turned to the other officials. The charges against the Dauntless are dismissed. Further, I propose we review our distress response protocols. No ship, regardless of cargo value, should be abandoned as the Navari was. As the hearing ended, other ship captains who had been watching from the back of the room approached Captain Joe. They had their own stories of unanswered distress calls and abandoned crews. The Dauntless's actions had opened a door that could not be closed again. Later, in a quiet corner of the station, Tay found Captain Ju looking out at the stars. "What will happen now?" Tay asked. "Change," Ju said simply. "It's already starting." The Alliance is facing questions they can't ignore anymore. Because of one human ship that answered when no one else would, Tay said softly. Ju smiled. Sometimes that's all it takes. 3 months passed quickly. The Dauntless had traveled to Earth and back, carrying news of what had happened at Alliance Outpost 47. The story of the rescue had spread throughout human space and across the Alliance. What began as a simple rescue had grown into something much more important. The blue gas giant planet came into view once again as the Dauntless approached Alliance Outpost 47. But this time, the ship came with a new purpose. After many meetings between Earth and Alliance leaders, the Dauntless had been chosen as Earth's first permanent embassy vessel to the Alliance. Captain Ju stood on her bridge, watching the familiar space station grow larger on the view screen. Her crew worked around her, many of them new faces. Some of her original crew had been promoted to other ships, while others had stayed to be part of this historic mission. "We are cleared for docking, Captain," Officer Min reported from her communications station. "They've given us our own permanent bay this time," Ju nodded. "Take us in slowly."